everyone. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas and hope everybody's getting ready for the new year. I'm Loro Antonio. Matt Bridgewater is with me to talk about all the news and notes around the sports league. So, Matt, how was your Christmas? You ready for the new year to begin on Saturday with some college bowl games and also Sunday to continue on with the NFL season? But wait, the NFL has extended the regular season to an extra week, which is good.
Yeah. Yep. So I had a great Christmas and had a lot of tamales with my girlfriend's family and watched the documentary All Madden. Did you watch that?
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I was going to watch it later. But talk about the Lakers and Nets, recap those Christmas Day games for the basketball, talk about the Lakers needing some work to do. We'll talk about their game against Memphis. So anyway, speaking of John Madden, shortly after his All Madden documentary, John Madden yesterday unexpectedly passed away at the age of 85. He is an icon. He's a legend. He is known for that Madden video games that I have. I love playing his Madden video games because it teaches me and also it taught me when I was a kid how to play the game of football and also how to announce the game of football. And also, John Madden was a Hall of Fame coach, but more importantly, he was one of the best analysts in the game that they have seen.
One of the best. One of my favorite color commentators, John Madden. Yeah, just when I saw the documentary, he's 85, so I mean, you're not going to be bouncing off the walls, at the age of 85. But it felt like what's the phrase where people give you flowers before your funeral, right? That's what that means, that they say their goodbyes they give their eulogy prior to you passing, right? So you can hear it and appreciate it. And the family says he died unexpectedly, so it doesn't seem like he was terminally ill with anything or suffering from anything that was unusual. But sometimes it's your time to go. And, John Madden had such a fantastic life. He was, I would say, the most important figure in football, not just as a coach, but as a color commentator, and his video game series, and as a teacher of the game.
Yes. Who do you like John Madden with? Pat Summerall or Al Michaels?
Yeah, that's great. I liked them both. I think probably with Pat Summerall, I just remember that duo quite a bit. But
I think Al Michaels and John Madden were great together. They were so funny.
They are. They were. Al Michaels has a little bit more, I think, sense of humor than Pat Summerall. So they were.
Yeah. Speaking of Al Michaels, he's probably going to be doing Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime next year, probably with Chris Collinsworth. But the dream team of that is Al Michaels and Troy Aikman.
Yeah, that would be. Is that the rumor? It might be Al Michaels and Troy Aikman.
It's one of the rumors. Al Michaels, Troy Aikman, Al Michaels, Peyton Manning. But it should be Al and Chris because NBC is going to be producing the Amazon Prime package because that's Amazon Prime and NFL Network. Do you have Amazon Prime so you can get the Thursday night games?
Yes. Do you have it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I can't wait for that because I think the Amazon Prime exclusive is going to be good for the fans to watch football in a new way. Thursday Night Football is going to be good next year.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be so much better because Joe Buck doesn't have to do those Thursday games. I kind of hated him doing Thursday Night Football.
Oh yeah. Will Troy Aikman still be doing Fox if he does the Thursday night games?
Probably not Fox, but I think Troy Aikman's going to want to stay at Fox. But that was just a rumor. That could have been the dream team, Al Michaels and Troy Aikman doing Thursday Night Football together. But I don't think it's going to happen. It's probably going to be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth and Michelle Tafoya shifting to Amazon Prime, and then Mike Tirico will be in the Sunday night booth, and you pair him with Drew Brees.
Oh yeah, that'd be probably pretty good
for the NBC, for the new Sunday night team on NBC, because I think Mike Tirico would be good for NBC. I think he's wanted to do a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, John Madden will be missed. I mean, I heard him as a kid growing up, and my gosh, he had the best sense of humor that any color commentator would have, and he was always so funny with his what he always would say in the booth.
Yeah, for sure. Boom.
He would say boom. He would also. I also watched his commentaries with Al Michaels on YouTube again because how much I miss John Madden in the booth.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Week 16 recap. Let's kind of recap those Week 16 games before we move on to Week 17. Let's start talking about the Bills-Patriots game. I mean, I wanted the Patriots to win this game, but for the Bills, this was a big, big win for the Bills.
Yes, yeah.
You said that you kind of said that the AFC East kind of runs through Buffalo for the moment.
Yeah, it does. They're in control of their fate right now. They have the division. So if they win out, they get the division. Yeah, I think I saw that game in Buffalo was so freakish, and I felt just that Buffalo would go into New England and get a tough, gritty win, and they did. And New England's lost 2 in a row now. Tough games on the road to Indy and then at home to Buffalo. And they host Jacksonville, right? And then they're at Miami.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville will be winnable, but I think Miami might not be easy.
No, yeah, Miami, they're doing really, like, their defense is stout, and as long as they don't ask Tua to do too much, they can probably get a win. They might be able to get 2 wins here to wrap up the season. Who do the Dolphins play this week?
Tennessee. So we'll have to talk about that game in just a
big
minute
game.
here.
Yeah,
That's a big game for both teams here. So the Patriots lost 30-21, and your Detroit Lions, I kind of predicted a tough and gritty road win in the ATL, but unfortunately, it was a loss for the Lions in the ATL.
Yeah, they didn't have Goff. They don't have a lot of weapons on offense. I don't know. A lot of teams like this now too, where they're just because of COVID and because of injuries. Who are the Lions missing? T.J. Hawkinson, Jared Goff, DeAndre Swift. They have no playmakers, on offense. So look at the Saints on Monday night. On the 4th string quarterback. The Saints have the JV team out there. Just a lot of these games are just they're not very valid, I think, in a lot of ways. But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think the Lions have the Seahawks next, so there's a chance that I think they could get their first road win of the year because they've been playing so hard for Campbell and fighting for him, even though they're 2-12-1.
Yeah. And, they could have gotten that road win at Pittsburgh instead of a tie, but they couldn't quite get that one. And, yeah, they might be able to go into Seattle and get a win. Seattle didn't look good against the Bears last week. And
talk about that being a big takeaway. Nick Foles, who would have thought that he would come from behind and beat Russ and the Seahawks?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a game in the snow. That was a snow game.
Yeah, it was a snow game. And also, I don't think all of this is Pete Carroll's fault. I don't think Pete Carroll's going to be fired. I think that Russ and Pete will be back next year in Seattle.
I don't think they'll both be back. One of them, I think they'll keep one of them. My guess is they're going to keep Pete Carroll. And I think Russell Wilson will just force his way out. And there could be, various teams that would be interested in him moving
forward. Talk about the Saints, or I think the Saints would be good for Russ because.
Oh, yeah. The Saints would take him. It's possible. It's possible Miami, if they want to move off of Tua, I think they would take him.
I don't think they will, though.
Yeah, maybe Atlanta would take him. Carolina. A lot of these situations, though, like Russ wants to go to a place where he can pull a Tom Brady and you have a good coach and you pull in some free agents and off you go. You make a Super Bowl run, right? So it has to be one of these. Could be Pittsburgh. So
I think Russell Wilson won't be a Dolphin. I think the Dolphins will continue to be patient with Tua Tagovailoa. I think Russell Wilson, to me, if I were to choose, he would want to play for Sean Payton and the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like when you kind of said there that the Dolphins would move off of Tua. The Dolphins have been playing very well lately, and Tua's been playing very well as of late.
Well, I think he's been doing kind of like a bare minimum. I think the team is playing well, and Tua, they're not asking him to do much, but he is not. He's like Baker Mayfield. He's limited in what he can do, and maybe Tua, like it could be a situation where they keep him and he doesn't lose a game for them, right? I mean, like Baker, like it's kind of the point where like he threw 4 interceptions, and Cleveland was in that game against Green Bay. They were right there at the end, and Baker, you look at the stat sheet, he threw 4 interceptions, and
that's another big takeaway here. I mean, that was a bad game for Baker Mayfield and the Browns are going to have to step up their game if they want to win the division. They have an opportunity to do that with Baltimore still without Lamar Jackson, but since he's a tough out.
Oh yeah, Cincinnati is one of the great stories of the year. I think they're going to win the division, and I think they'll beat Baltimore. And I think if they beat Baltimore this week, they clinch the division, right?
No, the Bengals play the Chiefs, so that's going to be a very tough game for.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, oops. They played Baltimore to end the season. Oh wait, no, they don't. They played Baltimore and they beat them already. They play Cleveland to end the season.
Yes, and then Pittsburgh will play Baltimore then. So
so Cincinnati, that'll be a tough game. Yeah, a lot of big games this weekend for sure.
And then the Chiefs, talk about them blowing out Pittsburgh here.
Yeah, I saw that one coming. I feel the Chiefs and the Bills, I think that they're going to be the cream of the crop in the AFC. I think we're heading for another AFC showdown championship game with them.
We are pretty much headed for that. And then talk about the Denver Broncos losing to the Raiders by 17-13. And the Raiders are still pretty much still alive.
They are. Yep. They're alive and kicking. It's a very tight AFC for those final spots. And I think that the loser of that game is effectively out of the playoffs. So Denver is, I think they're technically still alive, but they needed to win both their games and a lot to go their way. So really it was kind of a must win, and the Raiders came on top. The Raiders are a team where just when you count them out, they come back and they get a big win. And so we'll see what happens this week. The Raiders play at Indianapolis. Big game.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about the Chargers now. Recap. What an embarrassment for the Chargers to lose to the Houston Texans. They should have beaten them handily.
Yep. It was a bad game, and part of it is they were missing a lot of pieces on offense and defense, but they were still 12-point favorites to win that game. So you should be able to go out there and still win, even if you're missing Joey Bosa and Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton, and Austin Eckler was out, so they should have still gone out there and won that game. Just kind of a head scratcher. What happened? Houston, which is one of the worst rushing offenses in the league, ended up putting over 150 rushing yards with a couple.
I think they're just playing hard for David Culley, and that they're like, oh, we want to keep him in Houston and have him be committed to be part of this rebuild.
Yeah. They just the Houston game plan was we need to rush the ball, which they did successfully, and then occasionally ask Davis Mills to throw over the top and hit some receivers, and they did that. And the Chargers on offense laid a couple eggs too. They had a couple of turnovers, and they were critical, and they cost them the game. So a very poorly played game by the Chargers in all facets, and something you don't want to see this time of year. So the Chargers are now on the outside of the playoffs looking in.
They are now, but they're going to have to win big against the Denver Broncos, which I think probably should happen here. But also when you talk about the Christmas Day games, the closest game was like Packers beating the Browns 22-24 here. And then the Colts continue to be hot, and they beat the Cardinals 22-16. And then unfortunately, Carson Wentz still has a chance to play this Sunday against the Raiders, but he tested positive for COVID. and he's unvaccinated.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on whether he's showing symptoms or not. I heard that they're looking at bringing back Phillip Rivers for a game. If Carson Wentz can't play.
Probably not, but hopefully he'll be able to play that day. So I think that even if the Colts, I think the Colts are, to me, I think they're going to win the division because they got a good running game in Jonathan Taylor. Titans are just still way shorthanded.
Yeah, and the Titans, this week will be huge because Indy's hosting the Raiders and the Titans are hosting Miami. So it's going to be up to we'll see. Maybe there'll be clarity. If Tennessee wins against Miami, they clinch the division, I believe.
I think that Indy will continue to put pressure on Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because they're without Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry is kind of the engine that makes Tennessee's offense run. But also talk about Washington got demolished by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And does it tell you that the Washington football team is done?
Yeah, they are done. And, they're done and they're not looking good. Ron Rivera, just on offense, they look really bad. And now their defense is getting blown out. So, it'll be interesting to see if what happens in the offseason with their roster and all that.
And then talk about Monday Night Football. Talk about the Saints. The Saints getting blown out. That was like one of the worst games that Sean Payton has ever game planned for.
Yeah. That was, that must have been really tough. They were missing a lot of players. Like I said, it was like their JV roster was out there. And as soon as Ian Book threw that interception, I just thought, the game's over. Like the second offensive play of the game, and it's over because they had to avoid a meltdown like that. I'm just going to get more coffee here.
All right. So, anyways, now on to our Week 17 preview. And then next week will be our big Week 18 preview because we got 2 Saturday games next Saturday, and then we got all divisional games next weekend. So let's start with the Patriots and the Jaguars. So talk about the Jaguars losing to the Jets, even though the Jets beat the Jaguars last week. But the Jets are now 4-12. But it tells me that they're playing hard for Robert Saleh. But for the Jaguars, they just want to continue the rebuild process. They want to get the right head coach to right the ship in Jacksonville. I picked New England to get a huge win against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. But I think Trevor Lawrence, I would expect him to have a good game against the Patriots because it's him and Mac Jones going head-to-head.
Yeah, battle of first-round draft picks. And, yeah, Jacksonville is going to get steamrolled, I think. There's just no way they're going up into New England and getting a win. And they're going to look bad out there, I think. I think New England's going to crush them.
I think so, too. Bill Belichick's going to have a game plan to stop Trevor Lawrence. I thought Trevor Lawrence played a decent game last week in New York, but Zach Wilson was better.
Yeah, I heard Jacksonville is looking at hiring Byron Leftwich or maybe Todd Bowles or Jim Caldwell.
Oh, former Lion.
Yeah.
If you were Jacksonville, would you want Byron Leftwich to coach the Jags, or would you want to go with your former Lions coach, Jim Caldwell?
I go with Leftwich. I think Eric Bieniemy, I think, is probably in the running for something like that. I forget who Dallas's offensive coordinator.
They got Kellen Moore, but I picked Byron Leftwich to be the Jags head coach next year because I think that he knows the organization well, and, he's a quarterback himself. I think he would pay dividends in Trevor Lawrence's development.
Yeah, I think so too. And who was? Yeah, they were looking at.
They also looked at Doug Peterson, the Eagles coach. I'm like,
oh yeah, Doug Peterson. Yeah,
I'm like, if he were to coach the Jags, he would have to face Frank Reich twice a year, which would be weird.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think that he'll probably. Doug Peterson would be a very interesting
No, I want Byron Leftwich. Young head coach with Trevor Lawrence would help.
Yeah, I think. I think if you're Trevor Lawrence, you might want to go in on Byron Leftwich.
Yeah,
I think Trevor Lawrence will have a chance to pick his own coach. Well, not pick, but he'll have a pretty big. He'll probably have veto power over somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to want somebody to kind of help with his development. If it's a defensive-minded head coach, I don't think the Jags would want to go there. They want an offense. They want to go the McVay and Goff route amongst those lines.
Yeah,
because it's a passing league. Get an offensive-minded head coach to pair with Trevor Lawrence, and then you get a defensive coordinator that could help fix this Jaguars' atrocious defense.
Yeah.
That's what I think Jacksonville needs, but also the Rams and the Ravens. So quick thought on the Rams beating the Vikings. I think that was a huge win for the Rams. Can they come into Baltimore and beat the Ravens if Lamar Jackson's healthy?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And, the Rams, like my initial Super Bowl prediction, I think it was before week 1 on this show. I said it was Bills and Rams.
And it still could happen.
I'm hanging in there. I think the Rams, honestly, I think that they, even if they have to go into Lambeau, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I think they could go in and win it with the roster that they have. I mean, I think they're going to beat the Ravens. I think it'll be a close game, but I just think the Rams are pretty much better than the Ravens. I think the defense of the Rams is going to be ready to chase Lamar Jackson. I think Aaron Donald is going to get him a lot.
Yeah, and the Ravens don't look like a playoff team right now, so I think they're going to.
Because they're not the Ravens that we know back in 2019. I know that this Ravens team has talent, and I know that the Ravens are better than Pittsburgh. They're better than Cleveland. They're better than Cincy when they're healthy. But I think Cincy. I think the AFC North is I think the AFC North is a really, really fun division.
Oh yeah, there's, the Bengals are going to be exciting for quite some time with Joe Burrow.
Everybody thought this. Is Zach Taylor going to get fired? I kind of underestimated that, but I think that I think Joe Burrow really likes Zach Taylor now.
Yeah, I remember there were 2 head coaches I thought were going to fail this year. I thought it was Zach Taylor with Cincinnati and Nick Sirianni with Philly, and they're both doing pretty good.
Yes, they are both doing pretty good, and I don't see any coaches being one and done now, because I think the Texans are playing hard for Cully, the Jets are playing hard for Saleh.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Cully got a great win against the Chargers, and then the Jets, he's beaten Tennessee and Cincinnati this year, and he's beaten Jacksonville, and who else did he
Imagine if Saleh was on the sidelines for that game against Jacksonville. He would have just done a good job of that game plan.
Yeah. They beat some other team. Was it Houston? They beat
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and I thought they had one more.
And Houston. They beat Houston.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think, that he has to show that his defense is working, though.
I think it will be. I think you just got to give it some time here. But I picked the Rams to beat the Ravens. But the Eagles are coming into the nation's capital to play the Washington football team. I think it's going to be an easy win for Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts is showing that he's the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's played very well lately, and everybody thought that Jalen Hurts would be a bust. He has shown, he's really proven the doubters wrong that he is the Eagles' quarterback going forward.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that the Eagles have really good identity. They rush the ball and they get their 200+ rushing yards every game. I mean, they're really good at it. But yeah, I don't know if Hurts hasn't shown that he can pass the ball very well yet, and
I think the Eagles need to be patient with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I don't.
He has Devontae Smith, which helps.
Yeah, I don't think they should move off him yet. Same thing with the Bears with Justin Fields. I don't think they should move off him. They need to get one more year out of both of them. But especially especially Justin Fields. But yeah, they both need to play better, though. I think they're very underwhelming.
Yeah, and who do you have winning between the Eagles and the Washington football team?
Oh, Eagles. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sirianni has done a really good job with this team. I think the Eagles, I think they found I think Nick Sirianni is an upgrade over Doug Peterson.
Well, yeah, it looks like Peterson, there was some locker room issues going on that he needed to get out of there.
And with Sirianni, he's a good offensive-minded head coach.
Yep.
That I think will help with Jalen Hurts' development too. And I think that the Eagles are going to be good. I think Sirianni has them in the right place. So, anyways, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New York Jets. They're probably not going to have Bruce Arians coach that game because he has COVID. And Tom Brady had a really good game last week against the Panthers, and the Panthers just got shellacked by the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Yeah, Tampa. Yeah, they have an easy schedule. They play the who do they play? The Falcons this week.
They played the Panthers last week, and they're going to play Carolina again in Tampa.
Right. What about this week, though? Who do they play?
They're going to be going into New York to play the New York Jets. Brady knows this team well, and Tom Brady has owned the New York Jets in his career.
Oh, yeah. They'll finish the season with 2 more wins here and put pressure on the Rams and the Packers to win their games as well. That
should be an easy win for Tom Brady and company to come into New York to beat the Jets.
Yeah.
It should be but Zach Wilson played well last time against the Jags, and I think that Zach Wilson is showing some promise in the last few games. He's played well lately.
Yep.
And I don't think he's a bust. I think the Jets are going to be patient with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Because he was just too hyped up coming in. But I think that Zach Wilson's going to live up to his potential by next year. But I just don't think the Jets will probably have one more year of rebuilding next year. And I think by year 3 of Zach Wilson, I think the Jets will be they'll be ready to compete in this tough AFC East.
Yeah.
So now we'll talk about the Dolphins and the Titans. Both of my former Patriot player and coach going head-to-head, and Brian Flores and Mike Vrabel. Tennessee, to me, is too short-handed without Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry was playing in this game, I would have picked Tennessee to win. But I'm going with Tua and the Dolphins to win this game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I think that Tennessee, they rise to the occasion. They're a team that whenever you think like, okay, they're not going to win this one, and then they show up and they win. So I'm going to go with Tennessee.
I predicted that Tennessee would lose to San Fran because I was like, if they don't have Derrick Henry, if they don't have A.J. Brown or Julio Jones healthy, then that's it. They are done.
Yeah.
That's why I'm hard on them without those guys. Because Ryan Tannehill is not the guy that I can't trust him carrying a team alone.
Yeah.
Because all I trust if Tennessee were to win is Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And then I think they need to get a tight end. I just think that their tight ends are not that good.
Yep.
So, anyways, the Raiders and the Colts. Regardless of this, I'm going to pick the Colts to win this game. Sam Ehlinger might start, and I think he'll rise to the occasion. I think that Jonathan Taylor is going to pound on the Raiders' throats.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one because you don't know if Wentz is playing or not. And if he's playing, I think they're going to win. If he's not, it becomes maybe Raiders' advantage with that.
That doesn't mean that. I mean, I just think that you just have to stop Jonathan Taylor. That's all you have to do if you play the Colts. This team is ready. This team is tough. This team is really good defensively, and they are coached. They're a well-coached team by Frank Reich. That's why I think the Colts are going to win this game.
Yeah.
And I think that the Colts need to have a home playoff game with Reich.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen. So, you have the Colts winning or the Raiders?
If Wentz plays, I have the Colts winning. But if not, it becomes a coin flip, I think.
Yeah, the Raiders came into Cleveland and beat them on a Monday. So, and then just this past week, they beat Denver. So, anyways, Mahomes versus Burrow. That is going to be one heck of a game. This is going to be my upset pick of the week here. The Bengals to beat the Chiefs, because I think Joe Burrow's playing out of his mind right now. I think the Chiefs are going to be good, but I think that if they want a deep playoff run, I think that they need to lose one game. That way they are fresh for the playoffs. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs at home.
I think the Chiefs are going to win this one. I got the Chiefs going in. The Chiefs look like they are clicking again. They are on a roll. And the Bengals, they're a great story. It just, I don't see it. I think they need all phases of their game to show up to beat the Chiefs, and I don't see it happening.
Is it because you think their defense is bad? The Bengals?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bengals. I just love watching the Bengals because of Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase.
Yep.
So that's kind of my thing there. So now we'll talk about the Giants and the Bears. It's kind of like a trap game for both teams, but I think the Bears are just playing for pride at this point. And I hate to say it, but I don't know who I want to win in this game. I mean, the Giants don't have Daniel Jones. I like Joe Judge. I mean, I always root for him in New York, but I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to win this game, even though that they have one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with Chicago, too. I think that they should win this one.
Absolutely. And then we'll talk about the Falcons and the Bills. The Falcons got a big win against the Lions to keep their playoff hopes alive. And if they beat Buffalo, they are 8-8, and they have a chance to still get in. But is there a chance that they do get in? No. They're probably going to lose out. And I think the Buffalo Bills, sadly, I think they win, even though I want Atlanta to win so that New England can win the division. But I just think Buffalo's schedule these last two games is too easy for them.
Yeah, I think so too. That I think that they'll win. You
think the Bills beat the Falcons?
Yeah.
And then let's go on to some late afternoon games. You're going to be at this game at 1:05 p.m. Pacific time. You get to see Teddy Bridgewater, your brother. I'm just kidding. Take on the LA Chargers. But Teddy Bridgewater should be back by then. But you know that Denver is such a better team without Teddy Bridgewater. And I've told you many, many times that if he's shown that he can be their guy, I think Teddy Bridgewater is their guy going forward.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is he cleared to play?
I'm not sure if he's playing just yet. I mean, if Drew Lock starts, then I don't know, because Drew Lock to me is a bust.
Oh, so NFL.com is saying that Drew Lock is expected to start versus the Chargers.
Yeah, that injury bench. I'm just saying that.
Do you think Teddy Bridgewater will go back to the Vikings in the offseason?
That would be pretty good, but I don't think so. I'd want him to stay in Denver because he gave Denver the best chance to win games at each and every year.
Yeah, I mean, if Vic Fangio gets fired this year, it's because of the quarterback thing, and I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is the path forward. But then again, Tannehill is doing fine in Tennessee, so you just you could fire Fangio and bring in a guy that says, yeah, I can work with Teddy Bridgewater for another year or two while I draft a rookie and develop my own guy. Bridgewater is a very good, I think he's not someone who's going to make mistakes out there. He's limited. He's kind of like in the same vein as maybe a guy like Tua. He's a little bit better than Tua, or he's not as good as Kirk Cousins. I'd say he's probably a little bit step down from Kirk Cousins. So he's kind of in that weird middle range where he's better than being a backup, but he's not going to go out there and be a dynamic athlete and passer with a cannon of an arm, So
I'm going to pick the LA Chargers to win this game. I know you're going to be there. You should give them some luck to beat the Denver Broncos since you're going to be at that game. And I think that if you look at it, it's going to be a really, really highly contested game. Is it going to be fun for you to see Vic Fangio and Brandon Staley go toe to toe.
Yeah, definitely. They know each other from they're both in Denver and Chicago, so they know each other. And I don't see Denver beating the Chargers twice this season. I think that although I think it's going to be a tough game for the Chargers, I think they'll pull it out and win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Denver's going to score some points here and there, but they just need to solve their quarterback issues in the offseason. But you're saying that you think that the Broncos need to upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Like, say if they get Deshaun Watson, if these legal cases are dropped, I think Denver would be in the best position to get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's all. That'll be a big variable going into the offseason. I think Deshaun Watson. I think Miami would be a fantastic spot for him. Pittsburgh would be another good one. Washington would be a good one. I think all those coaches would be interested in Deshaun Watson.
I think Brian Flores says that he'll be interested in Tua. And I think that Denver would want Deshaun Watson.
Maybe Cleveland. If they move off Baker, they might bring in Deshaun Watson.
And then you send Baker to Houston. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
You have him play for David Culley? Would that
David Culley.
He's a puppet. But anyways, this next game we're going to talk about the Niners. They're 8-7. They're playing really good football. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has done a good job bridging the gap to Trey Lance, but Garoppolo might not play, so it looks like it's the Trey Lance era. Trey Lance is probably going to be starting that day, and for the Texans, it's a homecoming.
That'll be a fun game if it's Trey Lance. I think, hopefully the 49ers don't pull a Chargers and lose to the Texans. I think they got this one regardless, though.
So I picked San Francisco to win.
Yeah.
And I think for the Texans, they're still a dumpster fire. And I just think that if they get Baker Mayfield next year, assuming if they make a trade with Cleveland, do you think that the Texans would get a boost from Baker Mayfield?
No, but he'd be probably better than Davis Mills. But I don't know, like if Davis Mills, if he looks good these last couple of weeks, he looked good last week. David Culley might say, let's keep him and let's rebuild the defensive side of the ball, maybe, or give Davis Mills more weapons on offense in the through the draft or in the offseason. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what David Culley wants to do.
All right, now we'll talk about the Cardinals and Cowboys. I mean, talk about the Cowboys winning the NFC East. They pretty much have nothing to play for but that number 1 seed. So, anyways, and for the Cardinals, they're going to need a win badly. So I'm picking Arizona to win this game because they need it badly. I think Arizona's going to make it to the playoffs, but they have not looked good these last few weeks. I mean, losing J.J. Watt had to do with it, and also that defense of the Cardinals has looked really bad lately.
Yeah, the Cardinals look like a classic. There's always like one team that limps into the playoffs, and it looks like it's the Cardinals this year. Tough, it's going to be a tough finish for them. Because they are playing. They're at Dallas. I think they're going to get blown out. It's not going to be good. And then do they play San Francisco? No, they play Seattle to wrap up the season. So they'll hopefully get that win at home against Seattle. And then if they do that, they'll clinch a playoff berth, So, but they'll be on the road. They're not going to win that division. It's going to be the Rams that are going to win it.
All right, we got some comments here. So he wants to know this. Justin Bosman wants to know, does Cliff Kingsbury get fired soon? I'm like, I don't think he does. I mean, I think Cliff Kingsbury has done a good enough job to keep his job in Arizona. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think he's done enough. I think that unless he misses out on the playoffs, if they lose their last 2 games and other teams get in ahead of them somehow, I don't think that's likely. I think Kingsbury, he says, hey, look, I don't have DeAndre Hopkins. I don't have J.J. Watt. we've had, maybe there's others that are missing some COVID issues, and you could say, hey, look, next year we're going to be coming back. We're going to be finish the season strong. I think you keep him. Yeah, I think Kingsbury is safe for this coming year.
Yeah, I think he's done enough. I think he's there. He's the right person to lead Arizona going forward. I think he and Kyler Murray work well together. I
think a bigger question is how limited is Kyler Murray as a quarterback? I mean, he's only 5'10" or 5'9". He's a little bit shorter than me, and he's a dynamic player. He makes a lot of plays out there, but does he have limitations, and are they slowly being exploited by other defenses?
Well, I'll have to see there. So, anyways, now I'll talk about the Panthers and the Saints. So, who do I want to win this game? If they get Taysom Hill back, I'm going with the Saints. I think they're going to be so mad that they lost to the Dolphins, and I think they're going to want to win big against the Panthers.
Yeah, I think this is more of a situation of I don't think the Panthers have any fight in them left. I think the Matt Rule era is coming to an end in Carolina.
And why do you think it's coming to an end? Because if I were, David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, is like, I want to win now. That's why he's spending a lot of money on free agents.
Yeah, he's Matt Rule doesn't look like he kind of looks like a coach that has one foot out the door already, where it isn't coming together for them. I think he struggled on offense, which he's an offensive guy, so that's not a good sign. I mean, it's been a mess too. There's just a mess at quarterback. There's a mess on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. It's just I don't see a way out. And like you said, ownership matters, and this is impatient ownership. They want to win now.
David Tepper's impatient, but if I were him, I would have given Matt Rule another shot, just because Matt Rule has done a good job rebuilding college programs. But does he fit the NFL's criteria? I don't think he does.
No, I don't think so. I think, a lot of these college coaches they bring, like Urban Meyer imploded, Matt Rule not doing so well. Kingsbury, as we were just talking about, Kingsbury, he'll be back next year, but he's not ending this third season with on a good note. It looks like. So I think that college coaches coming to the NFL, I think it's dicey. I think it's dicey.
Very dicey. And then your Detroit Lions head to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions to get their first road win up in Seattle, because I just think that Seattle's done. Detroit is playing hard for Campbell. And you think that Detroit's going to avoid that number one pick, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And I don't want it. As a Lions fan, I don't want the number one pick. Where these teams, like, there's a lot of people that say, oh, they should have been losing to get the number one pick. No, they got to win. They got to build a culture. They got to get W's. No coach, no player wants to go out there and say, yeah, we're going to lose, and get the number one pick. No one cares in the locker room about that. They want to go out there and win games. It's about building a culture. And, if picks mattered that much, you'd have different teams picking 5 every year. Instead, you don't. Like, you have Jacksonville and Houston and Detroit. And for a while, you had Cleveland. That was always up there, right? You have the same teams picking high every year. The Jets, right? That's another one. These picks don't matter. Like, if they mattered, these teams would be all of a sudden doing really well. They wouldn't be stuck in the muck constantly. But, once you get your quarterback, you don't need those upper level picks anymore, and look at New England. Like, they got Mac Jones in the middle of the first round, right? So do your scouting, find picks where you can, or look at the Rams. They trade their picks always for known quantities, right? Like Von Miller and Odell Beckham and all those.
And I just sent you this article right here on what Dan Campbell said about if Jared Goff is the long-term answer in Detroit. He said, I don't see why not. What was your takeaways? What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on what Dan Campbell said about Jared Goff?
I think that they should stick with him for another year. And I think it's fine if he wants to draft a quarterback, but there's no rush to put Jared Goff out to pasture yet, because first, he's cheap, I think the Rams are paying like most of his salary still. So that means they can get other pieces around him, on offense or build the defense, and show improvement next year in that way. I think they keep Jared Goff for another year. And when they traded for him and they gave up Stafford, the plan was to keep him for like 2 years. I think that was like about 2 years is probably what they were going to go for. No, Goff is not a great quarterback. I don't think he's even a good one. I think he's below average, but he might be enough for another year so they can work on both sides of the ball through free agency and the draft and get some guys healthy for next year. And Campbell is becoming better, I think, at calling plays too. Anthony Lynn doesn't call the plays. So I think that Campbell is making the right move here. And plus you want to boost the guy's confidence, he
does. I think if you have to reassess the Lions' first year with Dan Campbell, do you think that he's done an enough job to have a plan for the Lions to be contenders?
Oh yeah, contenders. They're not going to be contenders next year either, but they're going to show improvement again.
Yeah, you don't think that he'll be fired after year 2 because you think that this Lions team is going to continue to keep improving, keep getting better each and every year with this new plan that they have. Because I'm comparing to, remember when you had Matt Patricia, who was a former Patriot, the Lions just didn't like him.
That's right. They didn't, yeah.
They hated him, and they did not play hard for him.
Yeah.
And I think he was the one to blame for your struggles defensively.
Yeah, when you're a defensive coach and your defense stinks, that's a big problem.
And then we'll talk about the Packers and the Vikings playing on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be cold and freezing in Lambeau Field. But anyways, I think I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers are going to get their revenge on the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think they will too. I think they'll get a win and eliminate the Vikings from the playoffs.
And do you think that it's probably it for Mike Zimmer in Minnesota?
Probably. I think they need a new voice, but I think that Zimmer is going to find another head coaching job.
Oh, he's a good coach. He is, but I just didn't think he's right for Minnesota. He's supposed to be a really good mastermind on the defensive side of the football, but I just think that Mike Zimmer hasn't done quite a good enough job with the offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. They need to bring an offensive guy, I think, to work with
Kirk Cousins
for the next couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Packers will end up getting a win here. But anyways, now we'll talk about Monday Night Football. Who do I want to win in this game? I think this is going to be a really good game between these two, between Big Ben and Baker. This is probably going to be Ben's final Monday night game of his career. I think the Steelers are going to go to the draft and get a quarterback. I think they get Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think they make a push for Russell Wilson too. Maybe Deshaun Watson even.
Maybe, but I think they should start off fresh.
Yeah, the thing is, like with Ben retiring, he's almost certainly going to retire. They're a rookie quarterback. They're going to have to find someone and spit him out there right away, it looks like, and have him play. And I don't think they're going to want to do that. I think they're going to want to go for.
Are you saying that because? Are you saying that if you were Kevin Colbert and Art Rooney?
Yeah.
Because you think Art Rooney wants to win for Pittsburgh right now?
Yeah, I think you go for Russell Wilson.
Either him or Deshaun Watson to succeed Big Ben. I think Mike Tomlin would have a new era with a quarterback.
You could try trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, too.
That's the thing. He can't stay healthy, though.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick – this is going to be tough. I want the Cleveland Browns to win. If Baker Mayfield's playing out there, I think that the run game is going to pound all over that Steelers defense. But if the Steelers won, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think I kind of want to say like Pittsburgh's going to go out there and win it for Ben. His last home game as a Steeler. But I I think Cleveland has too much fight still in them, and I think they're too good of a roster. And they're not going to the playoffs this year, I don't think, but I think they're going to go into Pittsburgh and get a win.
Yes, and then talk about next week. We have all divisional games next week, and then and don't forget, Matt and I will be predicting Week 18 next week because we're going to have 2 divisional games on Saturday on ESPN for the regular season finale. We got a lot of good games coming up Sunday. But talk about an early preview of Week 18. Which one are you looking for? Which one is going to be the most watched Week 18 game? Do you think it should be the Patriots and Dolphins, or do you think it should be the Bengals and the Browns? Because there's going to be a lot of teams, a lot of games that's going to have playoff implications. A lot of teams will have nothing to play for. There'll be some teams that'll be playing for next season.
Could be Cowboys, Eagles.
Ooh, that should be a fun one. I think this next week is going to be fun for Week 18.
Yeah. It's the later games. Yeah, Chiefs, Broncos, 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks, Cardinals. Oh, and Chargers, Raiders. For those games, those late games too, Chargers, Raiders could have a lot riding on it. If both teams win this week, that could be a play-in game for the playoffs. 49ers, Rams, I want to say, but I don't think so. I think although that could be a playoff game already for the Niners. They might need to win to get in. There's a lot of. I think it'll be Cowboys, Eagles though.
All right. So, anyways, some breaking news to talk about here. Sam Darnold is expected to start for the Carolina Panthers. What are your takeaways on that?
Someone needs to start for them. I need to put someone out there. That's a mess there.
It is. Now we'll talk some basketball here. Any Christmas Day games you liked last week? I mean, talk about the Lakers-Nets game. Talk about the Lakers almost making a near improbable comeback here.
Yeah, the Lakers, they're in trouble. They are definitely in trouble. I don't think the problem is Westbrook. A lot of people are saying they want to trade Westbrook.
He's not the problem.
Fine. I think he's fine. To be honest, if I had to point the finger at anyone, it's AD. It's
just can't stay healthy.
Can't stay healthy. He wants to play the perimeter when they need him to play the paint, and he's not a leader. I mean, that's fine because you have LeBron on the team, but I just think, I don't know what AD's doing. Sometimes it's just a lot of talent, just doesn't seem to be on the same page as everyone else.
He's not right now, but I think the Lakers will make the playoffs, but I just think they'll avoid the play-in tournament.
Yeah, I think they have too much talent to not make the playoff. I think the best they can hope for is maybe a 4 seed.
I think they should get the 4 seed here, but the West is still very tough. But talk about the Warriors pounding Phoenix on Christmas Day. I thought that it was like a game that the Warriors were like, "Oh, we're back to being the dominant team in the West."
Yeah, that Warriors Suns. They are a step above everyone else. The Jazz, they'll be in that mix too. But I just think the Warriors and the Suns are too dynamic of teams.
And then talk about here the Jazz beating the Mavs 120-116.
Yeah, the Mavericks once again another disappointment. Disappointing season so far for them.
And then the Celtics losing to the Bucks 117-113. And Milwaukee, after that slow start, they're right back in the top 3. They're right back in it.
Yeah, they are. Yep. It's Nets, Bulls, Bucks, Heat. There's your top 4 teams.
Yeah, but the Heat need to get healthy too at first,
Yeah.
And then talk about Cleveland being a Cinderella story this year. And then talk about yesterday, the Lakers, however, beat the Houston Rockets 132-123. I don't think that should have been that score. That should have been a blowout.
Yeah.
Don't you think? It should have been 132-88.
Yeah.
But that's not the Lakers. The Lakers just have problems defensively.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the Lakers tonight, they take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Will that be easy for the Lakers, or will that be kind of hard? Do you think the Lakers are probably going to have to lose this game?
Yeah, Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for the Lakers, but they got to win it. They got to start beating these teams.
They have to start beating those teams if they want to have a chance. But now the Pistons are home against the New York Knickerbockers. I mean, the Knicks are much better than Detroit, but so the Pistons are 5-27. They've lost. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games, which is not quite a surprise here.
Yeah, they're terrible. They've won only 5 games this season. Yikes!
Is that all? Is that all to blame on Dwayne Casey?
No, they have a bad. I mean, I don't think so, but the season's really bad. I mean, there's bad and there's really bad. So they can't be this bad. So they got to start turning the corner.
No, I mean, with the new arena and all that, they should be selling out tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, the ownership is not that good for the Pistons right now. They haven't had a good owner since William Davidson owned the club.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to have the number 1 pick again. And I just think that Detroit, in my opinion, I think Dwayne Casey's the right coach to rebuild the Detroit Pistons. But it's not his fault, though.
Yeah, I agree.
So now let's talk about some. So the Lakers, however, they end the year against the Portland Blazers on Friday, and man, the Blazers are flat out bad.
Yeah, what happened this year?
What happened to the Blazers? They were supposed to be one of the top teams in the West, play-in tournament or top 6 in the West.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a long season. I think they can turn things around.
Uh-huh.
But do you know what's going on with the Blazers?
Seems like the coaching.
It's not all on Chauncey Billups, though.
Uh-huh.
That's what – I don't think it's Chauncey Billups' fault, though.
But, yeah, there's a lot going wrong with him, though.
Yes, there is. So, anyways, so let's talk about this. The NHL is back. So after a winter break for them, holiday break, the Kings, however, lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. They have a game today against the Vancouver Canucks, which should be I mean, the Kings should be able to win this game today.
Yeah, they were on a roll before the NHL paused the season.
And then your Detroit Red Wings were supposed to play the New York Islanders today.
Yeah, yep.
And that game got postponed because of COVID concerns.
Yeah, yep.
And the Red Wings will be back to play on Friday against the Caps. So when they come back from holiday break, what would you expect from the Detroit Red Wings?
I think they're going to pick up where they left off, and they'll be an exciting team still. They might be a little bit inconsistent, but they're going to get some wins. I'm going to see them play at Crypto.com Arena on January 8th against the LA Kings.
Oh, that should be fun. I can't wait for you to hear about that. But anyways, talk about now to some baseball. I didn't have any baseball topics planned for today, but Kyle Seeger has retired. So anyways.
Oh, wow. Was that a surprise?
I mean, it is. I thought he was going to even pair with his brother Corey after the lockout, though. But my question for you is: do you still think that the season in baseball will begin on schedule?
No, I don't think it will.
I think it will. I think that both parties will resume talks next month on this collective bargaining agreement. I don't see a delay in the 2022 season.
Okay.
Because I heard that they met about the non-economical issues like PED stuff, drugs, and all that, which I think is the start. But I think that they're going to have to nail on the non-economical issues. And I heard that Marcus Semien, who's part of the players' union, say that he's optimistic that spring training games won't get lost.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So that's what I'm hearing on my front. But do you think from what I told you, you think that the season will start on time?
Probably not. I think there'll be some delay, but we'll see.
No, I still think we're going to have a 162-game season in baseball. I think we will.
Yeah, it's possible you could have the 162 games, but just a little bit of a delay at the beginning. I don't know.
Just a bit, but who knows? So, Anyways, college football time. It's time for some New Year's special picks. Let's start talking about the Gator Bowl. As Wake Forest will go up against Rutgers. It was supposed to be Wake Forest versus A&M. So I'm going to pick Greg Schiano to win this game and Rutgers.
Oh, I'm going with Wake Forest.
And then what about the Sun Bowl, the Washington State and Central Michigan?
Yeah, I'm going with Washington State in that one.
I'm going with Washington State too. So, time for some playoffs. Friday is the college football playoff semifinal, the Cotton Bowl Classic between the Bearcats of Cincinnati and the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm picking the Alabama Crimson Tide to go on to the national championship game for a second year in a row.
Yep, I'm picking the Tide. The Tide are going to roll Cincinnati. I think it's going to be like 48-0. It's going to, or something like that. It's going to be a blowout.
And then the Orange Bowl. Who is going to play Alabama in the college football national title game? I love Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, but I'm going to go Georgia this time because I want that rematch between Nick Saban and Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines with a bit of an upset.
And why do you pick Jim Harbaugh to win and him to go head-to-head with Nick Saban?
I think that Harbaugh is going to show he's a better coach than Kirby Smart. And he's going to pull some tricks out of his sleeve. And I think they get a narrow win against the Georgia Bulldogs. And it'll be Jim Harbaugh versus Nick Saban for the national title.
I wouldn't mind that at all because they're both good coaches, but I just like Georgia and Alabama to meet again just because I just want to see if it'll be more competitive than last time.
Yeah.
So, anyways, talk about the New Year's Day picks. So, the Outback Bowl, we got Arkansas versus Penn State. I'm going with Penn State to win this game.
Yeah, me too.
And then the Citrus Bowl, Iowa and Kentucky. Give me the Hawkeyes.
I'm going with Kentucky.
Why Kentucky?
I think they have a better roster, better offense.
And then the Fiesta Bowl, Notre Dame versus Oklahoma State. I'm going to pick the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Me too.
And then the granddaddy of them all. I'm looking forward to this game. It's the Rose Bowl game in Pasadena. So the Ohio State Buckeyes and Ryan Day going up against the Utah Utes. I'm gonna pick Ohio State.
Yeah, me too. I think they're gonna get a win here.
And then talk about the All-State Sugar Bowl. Baylor versus Ole Miss. I'm picking Matt Corral, Lane Kiffin, and Ole Miss to win.
Yeah, I'm going with Ole Miss too.
And actually, this is our last show of 2021, and we look forward to doing many more shows in 2022. And anyways, Happy New Year to everybody out there. That's kind of like my final thought here.
All right. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year. And good luck in 2022. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2022 for some Week 18 picks and also preview the College Football National Championship game.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Have a great New Year, Matt.
You too, Loro. Happy New Year.